Alright, I'm just gonna say this right from the top. I am very, very annoyed with this One Punch Man chapter. There's maybe like 2 or 3 positive things I could say about it, and one of them is literally the chapter cover that has nothing to do with the actual chapter itself, because the cover is Captain Mizuki, and it's for the simple reason that I think she's an awesome character. I enjoy her. But like I said, I really did not enjoy this chapter, and I'm gonna go ahead and break down the chapter for you guys right now, and then go through some serious complaints I've been having for the One Punch Man manga as a whole, ones that some of you might be sharing, so stick around for that as well. We're gonna have a little venting period together. But I'm gonna start with the biggest question of all in One Punch Man, that I know that each of you have asked yourself at some point. If I were in One Punch Man, would I be able to rizz up Tatsumaki? I read your mind, didn't I? Well, thanks to Facemoji, I finally found that answer. That's because I used their new Riz response feature to have a one-on-one conversation with her, and the results were pretty crazy. It's not just meant for fictional waifus though, because you can use this intelligent AI keyboard to help you navigate conversations with friends or a potential crush, and do it way better than socially awkward weebs like us ever could. Case in point, I went on Talkie and knocked on Tatsumaki's front door. Just before pulling up the sweet custom keyboard I built out on Facemoji beforehand, gotta come dressed to impress, you know? Well, you can customize your own by trying Facemoji with my link in the description, and get access to the Riz feature I'm about to use right now. So she answers the door, and as you can see, I get a pretty hostile greeting to start, but let's see if we can change that. Okay, so let's just take something that I would normally say, like, hey Tatsumaki, and let's Riz it up. Let's make it a flirty one. Alright, let's give it a shot. Rolls her eyes, keep dreaming. I don't know what you're thinking, but I would never date some loser who can't even take care of himself. Well, let's see if some flattery is gonna work. How about this one? Alright, you know what? Let's see how it works. Finally, someone who appreciates my company. Let's make the most of this date. And boom, just like that, it's a date. So Tatsumaki seems to change her tune pretty quickly, and she goes from telling me to kick rocks pretty much to being totally down to go on a date. Well, unfortunately though, the grave mistake I made next definitely cost me. I got cocky and turned off the Riz feature for my next few responses, and they weren't too great. Okay, here we go. Hey, since we're bros now, can we make out? As if, not with you though. I'd rather get struck by lightning. Damn. Okay, but we can still make out though? Question mark? Alright, so I definitely fumbled that one.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Had I kept using the Riz feature, I'm sure we could have called this one a win, but oh well. Don't make the same mistake I did. Try Facemoji today by clicking the link in my description or by searching Facemoji keyboard in the Apple or Google Play stores. But anyway, if you guys remember from the previous chapter, Sonic and Flashy Flash went on to take out the entirety of the Heavenly Ninja Party, and they did it in pretty cool fashion. Like, they coordinated pretty well. The fight scenes were absolutely amazing. Murata went off with them, and at the very end, Sonic and Flashy Flash are standing triumphant, and this chapter picks up immediately following this. Sonic is thinking to himself as he looks at Flashy Flash, thinking about how strong he's become since the last time he saw him. But of course, Sonic being Sonic, he isn't admitting that he's stronger than him. He's just admitting that he got a lot stronger, which I will say that although Flashy Flash has shown up Sonic for the majority of this arc, there is something that happens at the very end of this chapter that kind of shows a strength that Sonic has that is clearly superior to Flashy, at least in my opinion. Well, we kind of have a similar dialogue as we did to the retcon version of this arc, when the last remaining Heavenly Ninja Party member is talking to Flashy Flash and Sonic and telling them that they don't stand a chance against that man, of course referring to the ninja leader, and that they were better off just getting defeated by them because the ninja leader is on a whole nother level and he is going to demolish them, apparently having some incredibly strong genjutsu power. Now, if you guys remember from the retcon version, this is immediately followed by one of the most badass sequences I have personally ever seen in the One Punch Man manga, where we suddenly see the organs and entrails of the Heavenly Ninja Party members just bursting out of their bodies and forming this like disgusting flesh orb in the sky, and from it the ninja leader forms his body. I thought it was absolutely awesome, and it was definitely a bummer to find out immediately after that it was all genjutsu, it was all fake, but I at least had my fingers crossed that in this chapter they would do something very similar. I assumed the genjutsu thing would have played a role again, but I at least would have liked to see like another brutal, super cool entry scene for the ninja leader, right? That is not what we got here. We got something that was kind of cool, but honestly, I just think it's a lot lamer than the original version. I'm just gonna be honest, because we get this little conversation between Sonic and Flashy Flash right after the last Ninja Party member dies. He's pretty much saying, oh yeah, that man's coming for you. You better be ready. And Flashy's just like, yeah, with like a really dark demeanor to him. So Flashy walks over to Sonic and he's like, oh, by the way, and he pulls out a God Cube from his cloak. And on the next page is when we realize that this isn't actually Flashy Flash, because he bursts towards Sonic and we see this demonic looking version of Flashy Flash handing Sonic the cube. And as soon as it touches his hands, it sends this spark through his body, indicating that the power lending process of God has begun. Flashy slashes through the fake version of himself, and with it of course being the ninja leader, he is way too fast for him and he appears right behind him with this demonic looking face. I thought this panel was absolutely awesome. This was probably my favorite panel of the whole chapter. One of the only like 3 things I enjoyed about the chapter. Well, Flashy Flash continues to try and attack him, but of course the ninja leader is just way too fast for him, and as he dodges one of Flashy's kicks, he touches his chest with one of the cubes. But before Flashy can do anything, he's also put in some kind of mind trance by the cube, and he ends up waking up in this dream sequence that we actually saw in the previous version of this chapter, where he wakes up as a kid around the same time period that he and Sonic were at the ninja village, and he apparently can't remember anything. He just thinks it was one bad dream. So of course he doesn't realize that this is an illusion from God. Well, he sees Sonic standing in the distance and he's like, Sonic, I feel like I just had a really bad dream. And Sonic says any bad dream is better than being at the ninja village. Now that we've escaped, we can finally start the village we've been dreaming of. And Flashy Flash thinks back to the memories of them planning their own ninja village, their plans of escaping and starting their own village where ninjas can do whatever they want. They don't have to be forced to become assassins, kind of like a safe haven for them pretty much. Well, next we get that panel where all this God skin appears on one side of Sonic's body, indicating that this is God trying to offer Flashy his power, trying to trick him in a similar way that he did to Garo with Bang. So then he extends his hand out to grab Flashy's, and that's where the chapter ends. Now, for those of you that have not read the chapter and this is like the first time that you're getting introduced to what happens in the chapter, your initial thoughts might have been very similar to mine, which is like, where the hell is the rest of this chapter, right? Like, it's literally been a month since we got the last One Punch Man chapter, so why is this one like not even 20 pages, right? I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for you. I'm more so just super pissed off that like, not only did this chapter get worse in my opinion, but I thought the whole point of these redraws were like to make the whole thing more coherent, to make the whole arc a little better, to make it flow a little nicer, because if we remember during that arc, there were a lot of chapters that were like super short, super choppy feeling, so it kind of felt like the arc was kind of chopped together. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so when they redo this arc, they're gonna make it like the usual 30, 40, even sometimes 50 pages that Murata makes these chapters. And sure, it'll be the same content, but it'll just flow a lot nicer because it'll be a part of the same chapter. It'll be a part of the same like length that usual One Punch Man chapters are. But that's not the case here. Not only did the chapter get worse, it's still super short. And look, I'm not sitting here complaining and saying, oh my god, Murata had a whole month to make a banger of a chapter and he comes out with this, because that's also not fair either. The 2-week break was technically because of Golden Week in Japan, which is a holiday week over there, and almost every shonen magazine did not put out a chapter during this time. One Punch Man did, like at the very beginning or at the very end, so they kind of took the next 2 weeks as their break. So I'm totally fine with that. Obviously Murata needs his rest. That guy is an absolute machine that deserves rest when he feels like taking it. Just my frustration here is in how taxing it's been to be a One Punch Man fan these last couple months. Like, not only was the first version of the ninja arc like kind of meh, again it did have its pretty awesome moments, but then we find out we're getting like a complete redo of the arc. And although I was kind of rolling my eyes like, damn, more redraws, I was still hopeful that we were going to be getting some major improvements, some like major additions to this arc. And I mean, we have with the last couple chapters, don't get me wrong, but man, just like the disappointment of waiting an entire month just to get this. I'm not going to sit here and glaze this chapter and glaze the series right now. To be honest, I'm pretty frustrated with One Punch Man at this moment. Like, honestly, I would have genuinely been happier to wait another 2 weeks, with the exception that we get like an actual full-length One Punch Man chapter, like 40, 50 pages. He should have just combined this one with the one that he's probably going to put out next time, and I would have been a lot happier with that. And I don't think we could put this blame on Murata specifically, or even one. Maybe it's like the editors or the publication company that's telling them to put out these shorter chapters, or kind of having them draw it out a bit. I'm not really sure. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they have not let us down for the most part these past like 10 years, right? But I'm not going to lie, this is probably some of like the roughest times to be a One Punch Man fan that I can remember. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments though. Obviously, you know my thoughts. Let me know if you're also frustrated with this chapter or if you're completely fine with it. That's totally cool too. If you're enjoying it, then more power to you. That is it for this one though. Have an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video.